That's Tami Neilson belting them out at Roundhead Studios, wrapping up Neil Finn's Infinity Sessions. Now, Tami tours New Zealand next month, so what does she do during her downtime? Or is that not even a thing? Here she is to fill us in.
Just when I think I have downtime, that's when, you get hit with the flu and the kids bring home germs and you're like, there goes 2 weeks of my life as it goes through the whole family. But, to me, I guess my definition of downtime is probably a bit different than maybe people who don't tour and write albums, and you're always kind of got something cooking, as you kind of have to do.
Right.
Well, not have to do, but I think that you feel pressure to do in the music business. Like if you're
Sure.
if you have downtime, it means you're losing momentum. There's always this pressure to keep momentum up, which you have to be really intentional about not falling into that trap. And I'm trying to be more and more mindful. Not that I'm succeeding by any means, but I'm trying to be more intentional about sitting and reflecting and celebrating where I am and how far I've come. Because in this business, we're always reaching for the next rung on the ladder.
Yep.
And we rarely look down to go, oh my God, look how high up I am. Or,
Yes.
look how far I've come from that bottom rung, and we're always focused on what's next, which is, I guess, why we keep growing.
Yep.
And it's a good thing, but it's also a good thing to reflect and take a moment to go, you know what? I'm going to celebrate and mark this occasion, as an achievement, each achievement as you go. Otherwise, you're always kind of racing past it.
Yep. Well, I got to say, I just interviewed a couple of country-ish artists from the States, Margot Price and the new guy in Asleep at the Wheel, and they both are very familiar with you. And I'm like, oh my God, this is fantastic,
That's all. Asleep at the Wheel is I love them so much. And it was kind of crazy because as they may have told you, my new management in the last year and a half is Ray Benson's son.
Oh, I didn't know that. No.
Sam. Yeah. So I didn't realize for a long time that Sam was Ray's son. I knew he managed Asleep at the Wheel. He also manages a lot of really cool kind of up and coming artists like Willie Carlisle or Brennan Lee or Christina Vane and all of these really cool artists that are getting bigger and bigger. And so I was like, oh, that's really cool. He manages kind of this legacy act. So he's got experience in that world.
Yep.
But he also manages up and coming artists. So he still has to have that hustle.
Yep.
And it's really hard to find that combination in a manager where they're not just either sitting on their laurels and being really reactive to what pours in because you have a big act, or not having the contacts and the experience, but all the drive and the hustle, So Sam's a really great balance of those two things. Sam and Ellie are my management team. And so, it was, I think it was we had emailed back and forth over years. He'd always kind of reached out for me to be part of things with Asleep at the Wheel, who I idolized since I was a teenager. I was that nerd that was into Western swing.
Yep.
And it was our first Zoom meeting. As soon as he opened his mouth, as soon as I heard his voice, and he has the beard like Ray, he's got that big, deep, booming voice, and I'm like, hold on. And then halfway through our Zoom, Ray poked his head into the Zoom.
Oh, great,
and I'm like,
even better.
Okay, this is family. Yeah.
Yep. And Margot Price was interesting because she's got this song on her album that's kind of based on Sinead O'Connor and Chris Christopherson, Don't Let the
Bastards Get You Down.
One of the things we discussed was if Sinead was a guy, would what she have done even been a thing? And so that kind of one thing led to another. And then, like I said, she knows who you are as well. So, and then I heard you talking about sisterhood and the support and all that. And unfortunately, it's a necessary thing these days, it always has been and still is, isn't it?
Yeah, I think most of the opportunities I've had in this career have come through a woman saying my name in a room that I wasn't in, or giving me a platform or an opportunity. Obviously, there's been many men as well, like Willie
Right. Yeah.
and Neilson, and
Right.
but the sisterhood that surrounds me, I'm so lucky to have women who I spent an hour and a half the other day on the phone with Sunny Sweeney in the States,
Oh,
and we don't live anywhere near each other, but we are continually we're in the same boat, and we're women in our 40s still working, still taking up space in country music, and um, have had just insane things happen in our careers. But I have so many, like, those women are what keep me, like, when I'm feeling that, like, drained and like, okay, if I quit tomorrow, would anyone even notice? They're the ones that go, excuse me, no, and they lift me up. And then I hope and try to do the same for them, because that's what keeps you going in this business, is that solidarity, in an industry that doesn't um, that doesn't well, sometimes intentionally excludes women, uh,
yep.
especially when it comes to country music, country radio. I mean, when you look at the statistics in 2024, less than 10% of country music radio was female artists, and songs by female artists. It's just um, unreal to me that that's still a thing. So Margot has always been an artist that I have. I love how she uses her platform. I love what she stands for. I love that she speaks out, um, to the detriment, I'm sure, of her career. As any of us who speak out, we
Yep.
know the price, the price that we pay.
Right.
No pun intended. Um,
And of course, if
but
you're a
yeah,
guy, you're just a rebel, or you're out,
you're an outlaw.
you're an
Yeah,
outlaw, exactly, which is just glorifies and it makes,
yeah.
yeah, there's a different word for women.
Yeah, I don't think we can say it on the
I don't want to
podcast.
say
Yeah.
it. Man, oh man. And so in New Zealand, is it better, different, the same? Do you think that you've got a country radio station now that's playing country
You
music and
know, for country music in New Zealand, it's very, very hard to compare, because, as you said, we literally just got our first
yeah,
commercial terrestrial radio station, in decades.
yep,
So when it comes to radio play, it's very hard to say for country music in particular. But it is, when you look at our charts, at the New Zealand charts, because our charts tend to not be separated and categorized into genre. We tend to just, we're a small enough population that we have our chart and everyone goes on it, and
yep.
which I kind of love about New Zealand, is that there's good music is good music, and people listen to what they love, and it doesn't have to be really, uh, these rules and uh, lanes. People cross collaborate and all of that kind of stuff. But when it comes to our charts, I mean, all you have to do is look at our charts, and they are dominated by the same three male artists,
Yes,
and
I know who they
all
are.
male all male bands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
And that is nothing against those bands at all. It's just uh, a testament to the fact that that is what radio plays. And radio, people kind of discount it as like, oh, well, radio doesn't matter anymore. But the fact that all the people who dominate the top of our charts for years and years and years on end, they are getting 24/7, basically, commercials.
yep,
So when your song is played on the radio, it's like hearing a 3-minute commercial,
yep,
and it becomes the soundtrack to your grocery shopping, to your day at the beach, to when you're out and about. Like, even if you don't choose to listen to it, it is being
yep, yep,
fed
yep.
into you continually. So these bands are, in a position where They're being played continually. They're being promoted continually.
And my
And so,
understanding is there's a financial aspect to it as well. Like, in cafes, they pay a fee if they play music in the cafe. I think it goes to Apple or something like that.
yeah,
But that money is supposed to go to the artist. But the way they decide on what artist gets it is by those charts, not by the actual music being played in the cafe at the time. So it's
exactly.
just more for
Yeah.
those who already are getting more and less for those
Yeah,
who
just
should be
like
getting.
streaming
Yep.
and all of those things. So it can be very disheartening. And while it's not specifically country music, we still do have a problem with um, uh, equality in music in New Zealand. Globally, globally, it is the case. You know, when you look at our festival lineups, who's headlining those festivals? I've had numerous times been asked to play festivals, and I often say, how many women are on the lineup
Oh,
before I
good.
agree to
Yep.
do it. And if they, I'm like, just come on, give me 20%, give
Yep.
me 25%,
Jeez.
and I will do it,
Yep. Yep. Oh,
And I have been excluded from festival lineups because I've said I was the only female on the bill. And, so, and then you quickly learn like you can't afford to do that all the time.
yeah.
But it's really hard because you're trying to get to a position of influence where you can make change. Um, but you know what? The people who would make that change are the men at the top of the charts,
Sadly, yes.
insisting that they collaborate with female artists,
Yeah.
go on tour with female artists. Don't, if they're going to play a festival, they could easily put in their contract needs to be at least 25%
Right.
female artists or
Yep.
non-binary or
Yep.
non-male artists.
Yep.
Um, and it would be done like that
Sure.
because they hold that power
Yep.
and influence. So yeah, we still have a long way to go. But the thing that, and people often ask, oh, do you have hope that things are changing and the industry will change? I don't have any hope that industry will change because industry is not going to change anything that's making them a lot of
Right.
money.
It's all there's only one goal in the industry.
That's why it's called industry,
Yeah.
but we're in it for community.
Yeah.
And so what I have hope for is community. And there's never been a time in music where the audience holds the power. We can fill stadiums. You see artists who don't get radio play, who don't have any sort of support, and they're filling stadiums and
Yeah.
selling out arenas and
Yeah.
building their own followers online. So it is a time where we can eliminate that gatekeeper and access our audience directly. And so the audience holds that power now. So that is what I have hope
Yeah.
for.
Now, another artist who is making some waves, Georgia Lines is heading to Nashville, I think like this week. What advice would you give her? Maybe
Oh
on behalf, I don't know if you
man.
know her, but
Yeah, I mean Georgia, she is so lovely and talented, and she always I've said this to her multiple times. I'm like, she always delivers excellence,
right. Yep.
in her music, in her uh imagery, in her videos. Everything is done with a standard of just excellence, and it doesn't matter that if there's 5 views or 5 million views. You have to just keep delivering that excellence. And she there's no doubt in my mind that it's persistence and consistency and tenacity, and she has all those things. So I mean, she doesn't need any advice from me because she's already got everything she needs. The fact that she is leaving everything I mean, I know this from experience.
Yeah.
She's leaving everything and everyone she knows and loves to go somewhere where she knows nobody and to start over. And you have to have so much strength and tenacity and belief and faith in your gift and your talent and your creativity to do something like that. So she's already got all the tools she needs.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. All right. Hopefully she does. Now it's interesting. A lot of folks, especially in the States, are just discovering Tami Neilson from all the stuff you do. But of course, this is like what, your 14th album or something like that.
Yeah. It always cracks me up. I always say, like, a lot, follow me for more tips on how to be a 30-year overnight sensation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But for you, I mean, it's got to be kind of messes with your head a little bit because you're dealing with people who are just being introduced to you, and you've been doing this for many, many years, and it's been I mean, I've been following you for a while now, and I can see that you've had a plan in place somewhat. You've gone from this to this to this. Is that the way it has been, and are you thinking ahead in what you're going to do next?
I think that, like, when it comes to creating things, we're always kind of, when you're a creative, you're just continually like, working on the next thing while the other thing's coming out. And
Right.
so there is that, because most creatives are prolific, and we continue to have that outpouring of what we do. But when it comes to like strategy, that's not always our strength. That's why we have a team
Yeah.
that kind of come up with these, more kind of concrete plans. But I think, again, like, so much of this business is just pure bloody mindedness.
Mm.
It it sounds terrible to say, but it's true. So many times it is not about talent. There are so many currencies in the music business: youth,
Mm.
um, being slim, um, living in the States. All of these, and talent is a currency,
Sure.
and tenacity. And so it's not just one of those things. It's a combination of all those things. And if you don't trade in a few of those currencies, like myself, I'm in my 40s. I'm a plus size woman, mother of two, who lives at the bottom of the world.
Yep.
There's three currencies I can't trade in. So all I have
Yep.
is my talent
Yep.
and my tenacity.
You got plenty of both of those.
So,
I know that for a
well,
fact.
you got to have plenty of those if you don't have the others. And if you have the others, good on you. But it's a lot harder to get farther ahead when
Sure.
you don't deal in all of those currencies. I've been thinking about that a lot, and the currency that many artists use is not talent.
Hmm.
To get to where they are in this business, and so much, and that's because the industry, again, not the community,
Yep.
the industry, it's a business, and they're like, what's my surest bet? What's going to sell?
Yep.
Youth, sex, all those things sell.
Yep.
And so looking at me on paper, they're not like, let's sign her up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it comes down to an artist creates because we're compelled to create. If you're creating for an audience, it's very easy to burn out very quickly. If you're creating to fulfill your drive to create because you just are compelled and you
Yep.
have to, and it's how you survive and exist in the world, and it's more of a purpose than uh than a stream of income, then I think that is kind of the I don't know, the healthiest way, at least for me, to survive. My definition of success has changed so many times.
Yeah.
I often say, like, the dreams and the goals of like 18-year-old Tami, 48-year-old Tami doesn't want to pay that invoice. I'm too old. I'm too tired.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
They don't hold the same meaning to me. That the things that I used to think were so important, like, okay, well, to make it big, there's this checklist of
Yeah.
things that most of us think, okay, and that checklist obviously changes as the industry changes. It used to be like, you got to sign to a really big record label. Now it's, I've got to have 1 million followers on TikTok, and
Yeah. Yeah.
so the goalposts change, but it's always about like something outside of yourself a lot of times,
Yeah.
and outside of your art and outside of music even. Um, and so I think as you get older, what you value changes as well. And my 10-year-old was saying to me, Mom, I don't get how come like all your friends who, 5 years ago, you guys were playing the same gigs and we were the same font size on the poster. And, because he sees me celebrating my friends who are now like taking off like rockets and are just in these incredible opportunities and in an incredible place in their career. And he's like, how come you're not in that place? Because you guys were, at the same. And I'm like, well, buddy, they're in their 20s or 30s. They don't have kids. They
Yep.
live in the US.
Yep.
Like they have a very different set of circumstances. And for me, success, I want to have a family.
Yep.
I want to spend time with that family.
Yep.
I want to live in New Zealand, and not in the States. So all of those things mean that there's some more obstacles and hurdles in my way.
Yep.
But it also means that I'm very fulfilled and I feel like, yeah, I'm getting to do these incredible things like tour with Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan, or record with Neil Finn, or Ashley McBride, or like play the Grand Ole Opry. These are all dreams.
Yeah.
It just took me longer to get there,
Yep.
but I still got to get there.
Yep.
But I also get to have my family, and I also get to
Yep.
spend time with the people I love and the country that I love. And my kids go to school every day and I don't worry about them not coming home.
It's insane just when you wake up in the morning, I'm sure you do as well, and you just look at CNN or whatever, and now what, and it's
Yeah.
always something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Now,
it's really, yeah, your definitions of success change.
yeah.
And that's okay. You don't have to adhere to someone else's
Yep.
version of success, because again, I don't want to pay that invoice.
Gotcha. Now, I saw your show Infinity Session at Neil Finn's just around the corner here at Roundhead, which you show your tenacity, even though you lost your voice there for a couple of days.
Oh my
You're
God.
determined to do it. And now you got these other shows coming up. So let's plug the shows a little bit in the live thing. I mean, I was just blown away. 80 people sitting in this little room, and you and the full band there. It was fantastic. And of course, it's going out over the internet as well.
Yeah, that was such a special night, even though I was like pulled myself out of bed and was like living on prednisone and steroid to get through that gig. Oh my God. And like the shortness of breath, all of that stuff. But that it's such a testament to like our music community here, and what a champion Neil is for the music community in New Zealand. It was such a special thing to be a part of. So I'm like, I am like a zombie pulling myself out of the grave here, but
Yeah.
I am doing this damn thing. But yeah, I'm so looking forward to the shows here in New Zealand. Gosh, it's only a month away.
Yep. 1 month from today, you'll be at the
Yeah.
AOTS
And
Center.
I've had people ask like, oh, is it hard to go from like touring with Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan and then coming back to New Zealand and performing here? And I'm like, it's like apples and oranges. Like,
Yeah.
and I know, and this is not to sound like the Outlaw tour with Willie and Bob was one of the most magical career highlights of my life. But I am walking onto that stage every night to an audience who does not know me.
Right.
I am walking out cold, and I have half an hour to win them over. Half hour, 40 minutes to win these people over. And these guys are not here to see me. They're
Right.
sitting in the blazing heat. They're waiting for Willie and Bob, and they're just like, let's get through this nobody, you know?
I gotta
So
say though, as soon as they hear your voice coming off the stage, it's not gonna take 20 or 30 minutes. Jesus.
well, that's the hope. That's the hope. But it's a very different feeling
Yeah.
and a very different thing walking onto that stage. Walking onto that stage is like challenge accepted. And
Yep.
you're going out there and you're ripping it up and trying to win them over in the shortest amount of time possible. Walking onto a stage in New Zealand to an audience of people who have been on this journey with me, like yourself, who have known me when nobody gave a rat's ass and didn't know who I was, and you have been part of this journey for 15, 20 years now. There's a different level of investment and emotional investment, and the best way to say it is fun now,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
me. Like, you are walking onto a stage, you feel the love in the room. These are people who know you. They've watched you, play in the Opry, touring with Bob and Willie, and you're coming back home, and it's like this celebration with family.
Yeah.
And it is a very different feeling, and it's special for a very different reason. So I am so excited to get back and play for New Zealand audiences, and it's getting kind of fewer and far between where I am home between tours to
Yep.
play shows here. So um it becomes even more precious to have that embrace of New Zealanders and my fun out here.
If you enjoyed this episode of the 13th Floor's Music Talk series, please be sure to subscribe to the website or to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram and wherever you find your podcasts. There's a whole lot more to discover.